Greetings everyone, this is Jen Samali and I'm here to share my journey from when I made a decision to leave my country to go to Dubai. So I come from a family of 6, 3 girls and 3 boys, me being the eldest daughter. The decision was not easy for me to make. I had 2 amazing kids at the time. My daughter was then 6 years and my son was 1 year and 4 months when I was making that decision. So this is how it was. I don't come from a rich family. I basically come from a very humble family. My parents were not that rich. Making this decision had to involve some family members, some close friends, some people that knew me. And this is how I actually managed to collect money to leave the country, to go and look for greener pastures, as they say. So I collected money. It took me, I think, a year and a half, if not more, to get this money to be able to travel and leave the country. So before I made this decision, I first thought through it. I talked to a couple of people that had different stories of how the country looked like, what it was to work there. There was this, my sister-in-law then, who actually told me nice and good stories about the country, how you can make money, how you can manage to basically support yourself and support the kids. And this is how I eventually made the decision to leave my country, go and look for greener pastures in Dubai. So I sat down with my family. We started making a plan, how we're gonna get the money, how we're gonna deal with the kids and all that stuff. So I happened to sit with my mom and we had a mother and daughter talk. I told her how they should trust me. I will go to Dubai. I'll make our lives better for everyone. I promise to make sure that they live a good life, in return for them to basically take care of my beautiful kids. Bear in mind, I had a 1 year and 4 months baby. He was really small when I left. I cried a lot. The first time I had to hand him to my mom when I was leaving. He was so much used to me and he didn't know any other. He only knew me, but I had to make this hard decision to leave my kids behind and I go make the money. So I left my son. I remember he could not sleep for the first 3 days when I left, before I actually traveled. He could not sleep, but what was there to do? There was nothing really to do. I had to do what I had to do. So I left them. I traveled to Kampala because my parents are living in a different city and not in Kampala. So I had to go drop the kids and come to Kampala and wait for my time for traveling. So in Kampala, I was staying with my sister, my youngest sister. So this sister at the time, she had a beautiful house. This is where I was staying. I stayed with her. She took very good care of me. And she was we were talking about different things, life stories, what it's gonna be like traveling, being in the plane, and so many other stories, until it was my time to travel. So I left. My daughter, I think she was in her nursery section. That time when I left, she was in her nursery section. My mom promised to care for my kids that I was leaving behind. They promised that they will take good care of them. They promised to give them good life and all that. So I traveled I went to Dubai, and when I reached Dubai, it was a whole new experience. Bear in mind, I had never been out of the country. This was my first time to travel. I never knew what it was to be on a plane. I never knew what it was to like be alone, because I had never been alone like that, especially in a country where you know no one. I had no sister in Dubai. I had no brother, no friends, nothing. I never knew anyone. So here I am. I reached Dubai. I happened to go through, I went through a company. I will not mention the name, but I went through a company to go to Dubai. So it was not that complicated like someone who would just travel to the country on visit visa. For my case, I went through a company that had already offered me employment. I reached in Dubai, and after a couple of days, I was already at work. Life was tough. I will not say life was easy. Some of these things, I never even mentioned them to my family, because I felt it was just things that were gonna scare them off, just give them like negative energy, which I did not actually want to pass out. So I just left it to myself. I was like, you know what, Jane, you can do it. You will do it. So I was in Dubai. I started working. I started working for first company. That company was in Al Quoz. Most of the people who are in Dubai, they know where this company is, Emerald Company. This was my first company that I worked for. And I worked there for my full contract. It was a 3 years contract, and I worked for these 3 years in that company. So I worked for this company for my good 3 years. I left it. I was hired by another company, which was Jumeirah Group, and I was working in World Wadi under Jumeirah Group. So I worked in World Wadi. I was a lifeguard, and I worked there for I think 2.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Life was not easy. Life was tough. Whoever has worked there, they totally understand. You work under the sun. You basically, I would say outdoors, sun, rain, wind, whatever weather conditions that are out, you have to face them. But I was like, you know what, Jane, you know what you want. You will push through it, and you'll get to where you want to be. So I pushed through it. I worked so hard. I really was pushing myself so hard. I worked, people who have worked with me, they know how hard it is to work under the sun. So now just imagine a person like me who has never been in a hot environment like that. Now you find yourself, boom, in the country working. But what options did you have? You just had to push yourself to work. I worked there. It was a good experience. I met good friends. I met good people. The job itself was nice, though it had its own challenges, but it was really a tough job. You really need to prepare yourself mentally and physically before you actually think of working, doing any outdoor job. So it's not that easy, but well prepared, preparing your mind nicely. When you're in a good mental state, you can do it. I did it, and I turned out like this. So I worked in Jumeirah. After Jumeirah, lastly, before I left Dubai, I worked in a private company, which I will not mention the name instead. So I worked in a private company. It was a good experience. Nice people, good environment. But as you know, life is life. It has its own ups and downs. You find some good people, you find some bad people, but that's beside the point. The point was I managed to work there for my good 4 years. In these 4 years, I met nice people. I made good friends. I still communicate to them till today, and it was such a good experience.